Well, good morning, everybody. It's me, Mitch. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a chuck roast. And I'm going to take this hunk of chuck roast. Not bad looking. And I'm going to sous vide this thing at 155 degrees for 36 hours. 36 hours. I bought this back in September at Sam's Club. Vacuum sealed it. The vacuum seal is held very well. Glad to see that. But I do want to season it before I put it back in the sous vide. Anyway, I've got this humongous hunk of meat right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to salt it. And I'm going to use Redmond's real salt on this. So it's a little finer because it's frozen. And I'm going to just salt it really good. And I'm going to salt it on the edges. You could kill somebody with this thing. It's like a brick. Let's go over to the vacuum sealer. I'm going to take my humongous chuck roast that's been salted. Put it in the bag. And vacuum seal it. Okay, I've got myself one vacuum sealed chuck that I'm going to now put in the sous vide bath at 155 degrees for 36 hours. Now that's a long time. 36 hours is a long time. So we're going to take a little walk because I'm going to do this in my utility room. And I put it out here because thing whirs and I don't want to have it in the kitchen. You can do this in the basement, in the garage, anywhere where you don't have to listen to it. It doesn't matter whether it's inside, outside, or otherwise. The food is safely sealed in a vacuum. It's going to go into the water. We're going to set this thing. We're going to set the temperature to 155 degrees. 52, 155 degrees. We're going to set the time for 36 hours that I can hold down the plus button and it'll do it pretty fast. 34, 35. I'm going to set it for 36 hours. I'm going to hit go. Now it's going to start. Okay. Got the sous vide set up and running. I've removed the rack because this thing is so big. I'm going to take and set this down, and it does displace quite a bit of water. I want to push it down in here, and I laid it on the bottom. I don't want it to float up. I want it to stay down. I think what I may do is get a clip and clip. Actually, I think I can put the plastic under this lid and use the lid to hold it down. I checked to make sure on the side that it is under the water, and it is. It is. I think halfway through this thing, I will maybe, first thing tomorrow morning, I'll come in here and move it around or flip it around or keep an eye to make sure it doesn't move a lot, but this thing is going to sit in this bath for a day and a half now. A day and a half. and become almost like a ribeye. So they say. We'll see. We'll see. So we'll be back when anything eventful happens in this little project.
Day 2.
Well, the sous vide is done. I took it out last night after 36 hours. I took it out of the bag, put it in a container in the refrigerator, and here it is. So what I have here is a big hunk of chuck. It's been sous vide at 155 degrees for 36 hours. And I ended up, it appears that the brunt of the fat stayed in the chuck, but a lot of the collagen rendered out, and I have kind of a gelatinous liquid that it's setting in. So what we're going to do is we're going to first cut it open and see what it looks like on the inside. So I'm going to take this big, juicy hunk of chuck, put it down on the cutting board here. Now, it's completely different than if I had put it in the slow cooker for a long time, because virtually all the fat would have rendered out of it and all the collagen, and it would have shredded. But this is still fairly solid, which I find interesting. So I'm basically going to cut it right across here and see what I actually have on the inside. Okay, I have a cooked piece of meat and fat, and I can do a number of things with this. I could probably slice it and sear it in a pan. I could cut it up into chunks and cubes and air fry it and crisp it up. And we're going to try a couple of those different things and see what's the best way to actually finish this off. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this into 3 pieces. And we're going to see what the best way to cook it is. So one of these things, I want to cut this in half and make basically 2 steaks out of it. And we'll go ahead and sear them off in a pan and see how good that comes out that way. Then I'm going to take this piece here and I'm going to cut it up into cubes. Now all these cubes is about the same amount of meat as these 2 big slices here. And each one of these piles is a little more than a pound. And that's going to be a meal. So we'll start with these 2. Put it over here. We'll take the last of this thing, save it for maybe tomorrow, and see exactly what some other way we might prepare that. So I'm going to put this back in the refrigerator. And we're going to get set up to cook this stuff, and we'll see. We'll see exactly how it comes out. Making the decision to become a carnivore is the decision pretty much to alter the lifestyle that you have been living for the benefit of your health. Now, once you've made that decision, And since you're going to be cooking most of your, if not all of your food at home, like I have, you need the right tools. And I suggest that you get an air fryer, a vacuum sealer, a sous vide setup, and a good frying pan or two. And with that, you can pretty much prepare anything you need. The tools that I use, I have listed out on my website at oldguycarnivore.com with Amazon links to the exact products that I've gotten for myself, used, and am convinced they're worthwhile. Do you have to buy the products that I recommend? No, of course not. Again, oldguycarnivore.com on the links to the stuff that I use page. Chuck, been sous vide. I'm going to take the air fryer, the Ninja air fryer. I'm going to put these cubes in the basket. I have no idea how long it's going to take. What I'm hoping for is that it crisps them up nice on the outside and turns them into nice little crunchy, juicy, steaky flavored kind of things. We'll see what happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this thing on. We're going to set it to air crisp. I'm going to set it to 450 degrees. I'm going to set it for 10 minutes to start and check it occasionally during the way. I'm going to press start. I'm going to skip the preheat. It says add food, so we lift the lid. And we're just going to let it cook here for about 10 minutes, and I'll check it at 5 minutes to see how it's going. This may work, it may not, but this is how I like to experiment and find new ways to take the same foods, especially the inexpensive cuts like chuck, and turn them into a delicious meal. Wish me luck. All right, we're down to about 1 minute and 20 seconds of the 10 minutes, and what I'm looking for the edges of these little cubes of meat to start to almost get burnt. So we're going to take a look at it when it gets to 1 minute and see how well it's coming. So let's stop it right here. Let's take a look at these things. They're sizzling away. They're tender. I do see the beginnings of some little bit of burning on the edges. Let's let it finish the final minute. See if we need to. Looks almost done. And see if we need to let it go for another minute or maybe 2 minutes at 450 degrees. This in the Ninja air fryer. When it's finished, I'll actually get brave and taste one of these things. It's either going to be great or it's going to be horrible. But it's fun nonetheless, because maybe I'll discover the greatest recipe that Chuck has ever seen. All right, there it goes. It's done. Let's open it up. Let's take a little piece of this, and it's very hot now. And let's see. Let it cool off a second. What it tastes like. hot. Mmm. Very tasty. Certainly enough salt. And I salted it before I sous vide it with the Redmond's real salt. They're good. I want to try one more minute, just for fun. Crisp them up just a little more. So we'll go with 450 for one more minute. Let them go for one more minute. And I think that'll do it. So it looks like it's going to be 450 degrees for a total of 12 minutes after I've cubed them up. It may seem like it's been a lot of work doing this because of the 36 hours it took to sous vide, but basically the only work there was putting it in the bag, put a little salt on it, putting it in the bag, throwing it into the sous vide, putting it away back somewhere where I wouldn't have to listen to it, coming back a day and a half later. Then I just basically cut it up into these cubes and threw it in the air fryer for 12 minutes. I still have two more different pieces left from this chuck. That should be two more meals, and I'm going to try cooking them in different ways, and that'll come in the next video about this. But for now, let's see if my chuck roast bites, my crispy chuck roast bites, weren't a success. So let's get them out of the... And there's about a pound or more. They almost, if I didn't know any better, they almost look like home fried potatoes. But they are crisp. They are a little bit dark and burnt on the outside, which is what I wanted. Because we all know how good, especially like on a brisket, those burnt ends that you get taste. And that's kind of what I was going for here. And you know what? I think I've got it. Look at that. Look at that. Mmm. It never ceases to amaze me. These things are delicious. So, after a day and a half at 155 degrees in the sous vide, 12 minutes on air crisp in the air fryer at 450 degrees, I got a plate full of chuck roast cubes that are a little crispy on the outside, very, very tender, and have just a great flavor. I'm happy about that. So I'm going to go eat all these. And you take the rest of the day off and eat meat.